So, why even bother voting for a PA Supreme Court justice in an off election year? I mean, they're not the president, they're not a senator, they're not a member of the House of Representatives. So, like, why bother, right? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here are 6 reasons for why you should vote for a PA Supreme Court justice this November. Reason number one, voting maps. Look, it's no secret that gerrymandering has been and continues to be a major obstacle to a true representative democracy. Just look at Goofy kicking Donald Duck in Pennsylvania's 7th district in the 2008 elections, if you don't believe me. But the congressional line was so egregious that it went viral for how comically misshapen it was drawn, all in an effort to maintain undue partisan advantage in the election that year. Reason number two, voting rights. Speaking of a cartoonish mockery of the electoral process, there's what's called the independent state legislator theory. The details of the theory are a little bit too much to explain as of right now, but essentially, it takes the power out of the hands of the people and places it into the hands of individual members of the PA State Congress. Essentially, the state Congress has the right to decide who is nominated. I mean, call me old fashioned, but I think that the people have the right to vote who their leaders are and not individual members of the state Congress. So we need a Supreme Court justice that will accurately support the will of the people and not a legally bankrupt theory for electing our leaders. Number three, environmental protections. From the water in Plum, Pennsylvania, to the air in Allegheny County, to the mud spill in Chester County, it's high time that we elect judges to preserve our PA constitutional right, Article 1, Section 27, quote, the people have the right to clean air and pure water, end quote. We can't afford to have any new and creative ways of interpreting our rights so as to effectively dismantle them. We need a Supreme Court justice dedicated to upholding and preserving those rights. If you feel stuck, check to see which environmental organizations have endorsed which candidates, and that should give you a good idea as to who will protect our environmental rights once elected. Number four, reproductive rights. Especially following the Dobbs decision in 2022, anything's on the table for a potential Supreme Court case, including the right to an abortion and even contraception, among who knows what else. While we don't elect our federal Supreme Court justices, we have the incredible ability to decide who can sit on the PA Supreme Court, and we should use that to our advantage. Number five, LGBTQ plus rights. Going off the Dobbs decision, members of the Supreme Court wrote that Obergefell, the 2015 decision which legalized same sex marriage, could also be subject for review and overturned. But while the right to marriage is certainly important, there are several other factors to consider, like the right to stay in your apartment versus being evicted simply for your identity, or whether or not you can keep your job. For the estimated 500,000 LGBTQ plus Pennsylvanians, this is something that will directly impact their liberties, freedoms, and their right to live their lives in a peaceful and equitable manner. And number six, gun control. Schools, churches, synagogues, malls, movie theaters, sporting events, you name it. The way it is now, you have to watch your back wherever you go. And this has been detrimental to the health and mental health of entire generations. But we can directly address this multifaceted issue with sensible solutions that will positively impact the health and safety of Pennsylvanians. But we can only do that with a Supreme Court justice that will adequately interpret the well regulated militia clause of the Second Amendment. All of these are on the ballot this November. So make sure to register on iwillvote.com by 11:59 on October 23rd and submit your ballot by November 7th. So, what do you think? Are there any other reasons for why a Supreme Court justice election is important? Let us know. And as always, thank you so much, and we'll see you at the polls. Happy voting.